hour number 2, and we are pleased to be joined on the guest line by the head coach, Missouri Southern Lions, and that is Jeff Boschee. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Strange times, but as we were just discussing, you got some guys back in the gym, so some normalcy may be kicking in.
Yeah, we've had anywhere from three guys back this summer, and right now we got 12 guys on campus, and guys are just eager to get back to school and kind of finish up, try to start back up, and our season cut short last year with the virus happening. This was very disappointing to a lot of the guys, obviously, especially the seniors, but our returning guys. I think it just kind of put things in perspective a little bit, and made them hungry to come back. And we've got 6 new guys coming in, and all of them are here. And the good thing, the nice thing that did come out of this, I guess you could say, is the NCAA did allow us to work with our players this summer, provided that it was voluntary. And we have some dedicated guys that obviously want to get in here, get in the gym, and work with their coaches. And I'm just pleased that our school, our community, and Missouri Southern was willing and able to let our guys get back to somewhat of a little bit of normalcy.
Well, it was a year last year. I mean, I don't know where you guys were, but you were supposed to go to take on Northern State University, and when all this kind of came down, all of those plans got wiped out.
Yeah, it was. Just looking back on it, it was just weird. You had a great week up in Kansas City in the MIAA tournament, and played a great game against Northwest, and fell a little bit short. And at the time, I'm not a huge news guy. I do follow some things on Twitter, but a little bit of the coronavirus, but it hadn't really reached the national spotlight the way it had the week after we were about to leave for the NCAA tournament. But we coming off a great week in Kansas City, and we got our seating on Sunday evening, and as the week went on, just kind of got word, and I believe it was the Ivy League that's kind of started the whole deal, the trickle down of canceling their conference tournament, and we went from having it to just having 120 people being able to come per team, and then by the end of the day, the day before we were about to leave, they canceled it. So it was weird. Obviously, nothing that I had to deal with before in my coaching career, and having a end of the year team meeting. We practiced, we sent the guys home, and we were kind of in limbo a little bit. So we decided to leave the next morning. We were going to leave after practice, and guys went home after practice. They came back. We got word, and we brought them back to the locker room, and kind of did our end of the year meeting. And it was tough. It wasn't easy to tell those seniors and look those guys in the eye. And at the time, we didn't know the gist of how big a scope this was. So anger was, I think, obviously the first thing that came out. And I think as time went on and we got more information, I think guys just started to realize what we had in front of us. And it was tough, but our guys still accomplished a lot, especially that senior class. We had 6 guys leave, and those guys accomplished a lot. And just because they didn't get to play in that NCAA tournament doesn't downgrade their season by any means. They had a heck of a year and heck of careers.
Did you have any flashbacks to the 0-2 Final Four when Kansas lost to Maryland, and just knowing, man, that raw feeling of knowing that it's over?
Yeah, it's every year. There's only one team that gets to celebrate on their last game, and but the suddenty and the unexpectedness of it. I actually, when Harvard announced that they were canceling their conference tournament, I texted the AD at Northwest, and they were hosting the tournament, and just kind of joked, "Are we canceling the tournament?" And that was in the morning. That was the morning I'd heard of the Ivy League canceling, and we both just kind of laughed. And then by the end of the day, it was actual reality. So it it was a tough pill to swallow. Just like I said, in meeting with our guys in the locker room and just talking to them one last time, knowing that I wasn't going to get to coach those seniors again. That was tough, really tough.
Jeff Boschee is our guest here on The Jock. He is the head coach for Missouri State Southern State University, the Lions. You guys, top of the class really with the MIAA. I mean, Northwest Missouri has been a tough rival for you, but really in your tenure there since 2014, Coach, the Lions have been a menace.
Yeah, we've had some success against them, and I think we say as a staff, and my former assistants, Sam McMahon, who now took a job at SEMO under Brad Corn as an assistant, and we told our guys, hey, majority of teams these guys play, they're beat before they even start, and I think it's a lot of it's a mindset, and our guys, obviously we've had good players too. It's not just just luck by any chance. We've had really good players. They bought into what we've tried to do and what we sell, and we've had some success, and we had them at their place and just couldn't finish the job, and then felt like we were right there at the MIAA tournament. But they set the league standard, and Ben does an unbelievable job. He's an exceptional coach, and just every time a D1 job opens up, I text him and let him know that that job's opening up, so and get him out of this league. But they've been extremely good, and it's something that it's a program that you kind of look at and want to kind of not necessarily copy, but the way that they play, it's really impressive, not just on the offensive end, but the defensive end as well. And we've been fairly successful against them, but hopefully this year we can get over that hump.
I mean, some will tell you that the MIAA, as far as Division II goes, it's one of the better conferences in the nation now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a league where I believe truly majority of your roster has got to be guys that can play at the Division I level, and and I was surprised. When I first came into this league, was it now 11 years ago as an assistant here in Missouri Southern. I'd never seen Division II basketball except when I was a little kid with my brother, but when he played at North Dakota. So I've always heard about the MIAA, just living in Kansas City for a little bit, but I've never experienced the level of play, the talent that I noticed when I got in the league. So, we got a new coach here, and we were talking about some recruits and saying basically probably Division II recruit. And I said, well, we don't need Division II recruits. We need Division I recruits. And so I think that's kind of the mindset of our league. And it's just a very, very talented league. But then also you got a bunch of young coaches that can really coach their tails off.
Where you were at Kansas, a 4-year starter, and knocking down all the threes that you did, in some ways you sort of were on the leading edge of kind of the change of what we've seen the game grow to all these three-point attempts. Is that a philosophy that you stand by?
Yeah, I do, as long as you can shoot them. It's, it's kind of crazy, and I don't know, the statistics this year are a little skewed because we had to cut our season short, but I believe every year since my first year, we've attempted more threes and made more threes each and every year. And I think the way the game's going, it makes sense. Especially if you got guys that can get into the paint, break a defense down, and find shooters out on the perimeter. I think it's just it's a no-brainer. Get guys that can. We were fortunate enough to have a big kid in Cam Martin who, we can throw the ball down in the block, and he's shooting 65% down in the paint. So layups and threes, and not forgetting about the mid range as well, because I think anytime you need to go get a bucket, a lot of times you go get a bucket, it's a mid range type game. So, but yeah, I obviously I love the 3-point shot. It's something that I did a lot of in college, but I think the way the game is being played and the spacing and ball screens and stuff like that, it really brings into the 3-point shot into play a lot more.
From a recruiting standpoint, what did you learn going from after college to Barstool School in Kansas City, which was a private school in the metro area?
Yep. What did I learn about recruiting?
Yeah, or just dealing with kids in general. I mean, it's not always easy to be dealing around, especially at that age, and then growing into collegiate players where you got, you're dealing with all sorts of personalities.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things as a coach is, obviously being 15 guys to buy into a common goal and understanding there's going to be adversity and getting them to fight through that adversity. I think that's one of the hardest things as a coach. I think if you've been in coaching long enough, everybody, the limelight and everything gets shown a lot by your X's and O's on the floor. But I think the ability to manage a team, it's kind of like being the CEO of a big corporation, a big company. You got to be able to mesh personalities. You got to be able to handle, situations that come up daily. When things are going well, you better get ready because something's going to happen that's not going to go well. So, recruiting wise, we try to find as much out about the kid as we can, character wise. Do they work at school? Are they going to come here to get their education? Are they going to go to class? Are they going to take their academics seriously? Because I think if they do that, I think, it shows the type of character and type of work ethic that you do have. It's how do they treat people? Are they able to respond to coaching? Different things like that. That's kind of our main focus. And then, can they play? Obviously we recruit guys that can shoot the basketball, have a special talent that they may possess, but character is probably my most important thing. I just don't want to deal with the headaches. And if he's got good character and he can play, that's a pretty good chance that we're going to go after that kid.
Do the guys you recruit now, did they know that Jeff Boschee once was a pretty darn good basketball player for the Jayhawks? Or
they figure it out. They figure it out. I do have my jerseys a couple of my jerseys hanging up here in my office. So I'm getting to the age now where a lot of the parents know. The kids don't know as per se, but the parents may know if I give a parent a call. And so it does help a little bit in recruiting, but it's nothing that I use. I'm just not that type of person, I guess. They'll figure it out on their own.
Yeah, but I think it's important for some guys probably to see that here's a guy who came from Valley City, North Dakota, made his way to the Jayhawks and was a 4-year starter and played for a guy in Roy Williams. I mean, if that doesn't give somebody the encouragement and confidence to think that, hey, I can come from somewhere that's relatively unknown in this nation and still be a pretty big part of a winning culture, that to me speaks volumes.
Well, yeah, and I worked my tail off for it, and back in the day when I was in high school, North Dakota basketball was nothing. We didn't have AAU basketball, so we didn't get out on the circuit. I had to travel to Minneapolis every weekend to play on the AAU team, and just nobody. The last person before myself before I came out or left for Kansas was Phil Jackson, and he was a Division II player at North Dakota, and he ended up making the NBA. But other than that, before myself, there wasn't very many players that had come out of North Dakota with much notoriety. So. I think it does help a little bit in recruiting. Just the fact that the level that I played in, and I think that's important as a coach too. I just hired a new assistant who played at Oral Roberts. Just got done playing overseas for 5, 6, 7 years, I believe, and I think the resume with him itself, generates respect right away because they understand that they know he can play and. Coach Paul and Coach Cody, young guys, they understand. They've been in these kids' shoes for just recently. So I think it does help a little bit as you look at it.
And I would wonder if the psyche of a collegiate athlete right now could still deal with. I don't know. I would guess that when you were a freshman at KU, Roy Williams was pretty tough on you guys. I mean, could they handle that sort of pressure? I mean, can you still coach in that same manner?
I I don't know. I think the biggest thing is one of the, you got to get to know the kids on a personal level to be able to coach like that. There's some guys like that can really, that can do it and still, get the respect of the players. But I think the bottom line it boils down to now is you gotta love the kid as a person. You gotta know the kid as a person. You gotta know his family. Know what makes him tick. Is he a kid that can take a butt chewing? Is he a kid you gotta kind of coddle a little bit? I think it's a different aspect. If I had to go do it back all over again, I think I would have majored in psychology or sociology before I became a coach. But Coach Williams, he was extremely demanding. His practices were tough. I never felt like I was treated in a bad way. And he was definitely, especially my freshman year, because I kind of got thrown into the wolves a little bit and had to learn extremely quick. And he was tough on me. That was one of the hardest years that I had to go through. And I wasn't used to it coming out of high school. I didn't have the coaching as far as, being yelled at and screamed at. And, but at the same time, he once he yelled at you, he came back and he talked to you and treated you like one of his sons. And that's something that I'll always take with me when, as long as I coach.
And I would imagine you instill a lot of his philosophy of the game in your own teaching.
We do. I think as a coach, you have to constantly be learning. I think the one thing that I probably did take from him is just the way we play, the speed and pace that we play, and we try to play fast, get up down the floor. We don't necessarily do the things that we did at Kansas offensively. Defensively, a little bit different. I think the game's evolved a little bit where we had to change some things up. But the one thing I would take away is just the speed and the pace that we play at getting up and down the floor.
Coach, why the bald look as a freshman? I mean, you got great hair. What's going on with all that?
I don't know, man. It's just it started my freshman year in high school. It started as a flat top, a crew cut, I guess. And then slowly, surely, just had a couple of buddies of mine. They'd come over night before the game, high school game, and then it just went to shaving our heads, and then it actually started with kind of, I don't know, I call it a chili bowl, where you just kind of shave around, make a circle or loop around your head, and then you buzz the top and you got the ledge. But then I started to learn as I got older how to fade the hair a little bit. So I don't know, just kind of, it always was. And then after my sophomore year, I had a bad sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year, and I just wanted some change and decided to grow the hair out. And it's actually funny. I came back for basketball camp in the summertime to work Coach Williams basketball camp, and lo and behold, the next day there's an article in the Lawrence paper about how I had hair now. So it was kind of a big deal there for a little bit.
There's a funny story. I was reading Rock Chalk Talk. It's a SB Nation kind of fan blog. And one of these things that was written, this is a while ago, I guess 2015, but they say, it writes here that in the fall semester in 1998, he was often found in Robinson Gym shooting hoops with average Kansas students. My wife likes to tell the story of how she and her boyfriend at the time were hanging out at Robinson shooting baskets when some guy asked to join in the game of Around the World. Well, that guy happened to be Jeff Boschee, and that guy went around the world without missing. Do you remember that specifically?
I don't remember the specific, but I do remember I'd go over and play. I think Allen Fieldhouse was getting redone. The floor was getting redone or something. So we went over there and we played pickup over there, and I'd go over there and shoot and just kind of mess around with. The crazy thing is I kind of blend in with, just average, normal looking Joe, walking around on campus. I just kind of blend in with everybody. So, but no, I do remember those times and fond memories.
Well, as Joplin, I guess, now it's got to feel like home for you in this program.
Yeah, it does. I enjoy this place. My wife grew up from around the area. She's from Columbus, Kansas, and I like the community. I love the school. I think that the school does a tremendous job of taking care of us, the support of the community. We were top 10 in the country last year in attendance at our basketball games. And, it does. It just feels like home. It feels like my program, and I'm excited about this year, and I hope everything goes well. We have 6 new guys. I don't think anybody really expects us to do as much as possibly done in the past. So it's a little bit more challenging, but I like that, and that's a lot more fun for me.
Hey, how much fun is it to go into the Kansas City Municipal Auditorium and play the MIAA Conference Tournament in there? That's a really historic building that just has some terrific feel.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I tell my friends and people around that, playing in the Big 12 tournament, very similar vibe. Obviously, we don't have the 15,000, 16,000 fans at the game, but the MIAA does a really good job of putting that thing on. It's great atmosphere. I think the championship game we played Northwest, I think there was close to 6,000 fans at the game. The history of that building. It's fun. All the teams stay right down there, downtown Marriott, and just get to walk to the game. The fans are all around downtown, and if there's anybody out there that hasn't experienced the MIAA tournament in Kansas City that first weekend in March, it's a must go. It's a must see, and it's a great basketball.
All right, Coach, I'll let you go with this. I know your players probably, they see the KU stuff and they say, okay, Jeff Boschee, they look you up, they watch the highlights, but did they know that their head coach is a duly noted author? I mean, come on now. How are the book sales going? A long shot, beating the odds to live a Jayhawk dream.
The book sales are not going well anymore. My mom's trying to get rid of all of them, give them away. But at the time there, I think I sold, I want to say I sold close to, I don't even know, honestly. I made a good little penny, though, after college. That was one of the main reasons I did it. And, Jared Haas had done it he was the first one to do it. And Mark Horvath, who was the author, he's actually passed away now, but he was a great guy. And he started it with floor burns with Jared, and then I was his second one. And with Jared, he did more of like a journal entry type thing, and with me, he wanted to tell more of a story. So it was a lot of interviewing process. We met for probably 3-4 months, and he just interviewed me for days, just hours upon hours, and it was a unique experience. It was a lot of work, a lot of traveling, book signings, and different things like that. And I'm glad I did it. But now we got too many books sitting around. So if anybody needs any books, just hit me up on email. Hit me up on email or Twitter, and I can have my mom send you some.
I think
he's looking to clean up some closet space.
I think you need to get a copy on every one of your players' chairs in front of their locker and tell them that's their homework, is to make sure they know their head coach well.
Well, that's just another opportunity for them to make fun of the head coach.
Jeff, listen, it's having done the SBU games, it's unfortunately they were on the wrong end of these scores against your teams too often, but it's been fun to watch another prominent Division II school in the state of Missouri kind of rise to the top, and Missouri Southern under your tutelage has done quite well. So keep up the great work, and your time greatly appreciated today. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate you having me on. Good luck to you.
Thank you, man.
Stay safe.